You're just trying to live like a normal person. And the law is sitting there like, actually, no. In one town, your high heels can come with paperwork. In another, a quick horn tap can be a ticket. Today is 50 ridiculous US laws, ordinances, and enforceable rules that actually exist. Some get enforced all the time. Some are just still on the books. Either way, getting caught feels the same. First up, the everyday stuff that turns into a trap. 1. You're walking to dinner in Carmel by the sea, dressed up, feeling harmless. Your heels click on the sidewalk like a tiny drumline. And then you hear about a local rule tied to high heels above a certain height with a permit people talk about. You're not causing trouble. You're literally just walking. But in this town, just walking can still have fine print. In Carmel, style can need permission. 2. You pull into a New Jersey gas station, hop out on autopilot and reach for the nozzle. In New Jersey, attendants usually pump the gas, not you. A worker can wave you back like you just crossed a velvet rope. It's not scary. It's just awkward. Now you're standing there holding nothing, waiting like you forgot how cars work. In Jersey, the pump is not yours. 3. You're stuck in New York City traffic. Someone won't move, and you give a quick beep. In the city, honking is supposed to be for real warning, actual danger. Not impatience. Not hello. Not vibes. So that tiny beep can become the kind of thing you get ticketed for. Same street. Different definition of reasonable. Your horn is not your mood. 4. You're scanning a bar menu in Massachusetts, hunting for happy hour like it's tradition. Massachusetts has rules that ban happy hour-style drink discounts. So, in a room full of TVs and wings, the one thing you expect just isn't allowed. It's not the bartender being stingy. It's policy. Your wallet learns the rule before you do. In Mass, cheap drinks are illegal on purpose. 5. You buy something ordinary in California and it comes with a cancer warning like it's radioactive. Proposition 65 warnings show up on everything from products to buildings. So, the warnings start blending into the background like spam email. You stop reading. You start ignoring, which is the opposite of what a warning is supposed to do. When everything screams, nothing sounds real. Raise your hand in the comments if you've ignored one of those labels. 6. You're designing a first aid kit label, and you slap on a little red cross because it looks medical. That symbol is protected, and using it can bring real consequences. So what feels like a harmless icon can trigger a very official letter. You didn't mean anything by it. The law doesn't care what you meant. That tiny cross carries big authority. 7. You're naming a local sports event, and Olympic feels perfect, dramatic, clean, official. In the US, certain Olympic words and symbols are tightly controlled. So your fun title can turn into a very serious warning. You're thinking community event. Someone else is thinking protected brand. One word, one headache. Congrats, your title just got lawyered. 8. You're driving through Vermont and notice something missing. Giant roadside billboards. That's not an accident. Vermont restricts many off-premise signs. So, what looks like small-town peace is also regulation doing its job. Businesses have to sell without shouting from the highway. The scenery wins that argument. In Vermont, the view is protected. 9. You land in Hawaii, hit the beach, and reach for sunscreen like a responsible adult. Hawaii restricts the sale of certain sunscreens linked to reef harm. So, the bottle you trust can become the bottle you can't buy there. It's not about your comfort. It's about what washes into the water. Suddenly, your beach bag has rules. Even sunscreen can have fine print. 10. You pack a fancy lotion, a souvenir bottle, or a nice drink for someone you like. Then airport security hits you with the carry-on liquid limit, 3.4 ounces. Nobody cares that it's sealed. Nobody cares that it's expensive. It goes in the bin or it doesn't fly. That's the whole conversation. At security, your gift becomes garbage. You think you're just moving through the world. Then the rules start acting like invisible tripwires. 11. You finally have a free weekend to car shop in Texas, coffee in hand, ready to negotiate. Then you learn dealers can be required to pick one weekend day to close. So the one day you chose might be the one they legally can't sell you anything. You weren't late. You weren't unlucky. You just picked wrong. In Texas, your test drive has office hours. 12. You leave a bar with a drink you already paid for, walking one block to your ride. In a lot of places, open container means the street is a no-go zone. Not drunk driving, just holding the cup outdoors. An officer can stop you for the cup, not your behavior. And suddenly, you're arguing about a lid. Sometimes the crime is the location. 13. You write a cute note on a bill like it's a guest book and hand it to someone as a joke. Damaging currency on purpose can cross into federal trouble if you make it unfit to circulate. It's not about the ink. It's about the damage and the intent. Now your fun idea looks like sabotage. That bill is not your canvas. 14. You're standing in a national park, staring at a view that looks fake. Your brain immediately says, drone footage. In many parks, drones are banned or heavily restricted. A ranger can shut you down fast, even if you swear you're being careful. Because it's wildlife, noise, safety, and other visitors. The park is not your studio. 15. You tell a story about medals you never earned because it sounds impressive at the moment. The law gets very interested when that lie is used to get money, benefits, or special treatment. So what starts as a flex can turn into a charge. And the shame lasts longer than the story. Don't turn respect into a scam. Okay, now it's not just awkward. Now it's, this could cost you. 16. You buy fireworks in one state like it's a normal summer errand. Then you drive 15 minutes, and the same box becomes contraband. Different state, different rules, same trunk. A cop can treat your harmless fun like a real violation. Your fireworks don't travel well. 17. You install flashy lights on your car for safety or because they look cool at night. If your lights resemble police or emergency lighting, that can get you pulled over fast. Intent doesn't matter as much as the confusion you create. Now you're explaining your online purchase on the shoulder of the highway. Safety doesn't mean looking official. 18. You walk onto the sand with a glass bottle and main character confidence. Some beaches ban glass outright, and some ban alcohol on the sand entirely. So, you can be in trouble before the first sip. A staff member can tell you to dump it or leave, right there in public. At the beach, the container can be the offense. 19. You see a cactus in Arizona that looks like a perfect souvenir. In parts of the state, taking certain cacti can be treated like serious theft. Not don't touch the plant's serious paperwork, fines, and charges serious. Because that desert takes its ecosystem personally. In Arizona, the cactus can fight back. 20. You name your side hustle something that sounds government adjacent because it feels trustworthy. Branding that implies authority can slide into impersonation territory. Suddenly, your cute logo looks like a badge you didn't earn. And it stops being funny the moment you're told to change it. Don't brand yourself like a badge. Quick check. Which one of these would have gotten you? 21. You find a beautiful feather on the ground and think, free souvenir. Possessing feathers from protected birds can be illegal under federal rules. It sounds absurd until you realize it's meant to stop trafficking. Still, it's a wild thing to explain if you get questioned. That pretty feather can be a problem. 22. You're exhausted, so you pull into a parking lot to sleep for an hour. In some cities, sleeping in your vehicle is treated like unlawful camping or lodging. A cop can knock on your window like you're setting up a campsite. You're not partying. You're trying not to crash. Rest can look like a violation. 23. You light a small grill on your balcony like you're filming a wholesome commercial. Then the building rules or fire code says no, especially for certain grill types. It's not about how careful you feel. It's about shared risk on paper. Now you're putting dinner away like it's evidence. Some grills are banned by address. 24. You toss food toward an alligator because it feels like a story you'll tell later. In places like Florida, feeding alligators is illegal, and enforcement can be strict. Because once they associate humans with food, they get dangerous fast. Your fun moment becomes a public safety problem. Don't teach a predator to expect you. 25. You see baby chicks for sale and think it's cute, seasonal, and harmless. Some places restrict how chicks and ducklings can be sold, especially around holidays, because impulse buys turn into abandoned animals fast. So the rule shows up right where the cuteness is. Even the fluffiest purchase can have rules. These are the ones that feel like normal life, until a state line or a posted sign turns you into the problem. 26. You roll up to a red light in New York City, check the crosswalk, and your instincts say, "Quick right." In the city, right on red is generally not allowed unless a sign tells you it is. So, the move that feels automatic almost everywhere else becomes ticket bait here. You weren't being reckless. You were being efficient. In New York, the red light means it. 27. You stick a radar detector on your windshield like it's a road trip accessory. Then you cross into Virginia and learn that gadget can get you pulled over. A trooper can treat the device itself like the violation. Now you're peeling it off in a panic, like it's a cursed sticker. In Virginia, your dashboard can get you in trouble. 28. You're trying to be helpful, so you slip a note into a neighbor's mailbox. Here's the weird part. That box is treated like protected space for official mail delivery. So your nice gesture can technically cross a federal line. It sounds impossible until you realize the mailbox is not really yours in the way you think. That little box is more official than it looks. 29. You bring back a chocolate egg with a toy inside because it's cute and harmless. In the US, candy with a non-food object inside the edible part can be treated as prohibited. So your souvenir gets seized like it's a safety threat. Nothing about it feels dangerous until it's gone. Congrats! Your dessert just got confiscated. 30. You're driving into California with a bag of fruit like you're doing something wholesome. Then you hit an agricultural checkpoint, and suddenly you're answering questions about produce. Not declaring certain items can turn into a fine, even if you swear it's just snacks. Now you're in a lane with a clipboard, explaining oranges. In California, even an apple has paperwork energy. Be honest, how many of these would you have guessed? 31. You bring your pet everywhere and call it a service animal because it's easier. In many states, misrepresenting a service animal can be an actual offense because it turns disability access into a loophole, and businesses get burned. Now your little lie becomes the kind of thing that ends with a citation. Don't turn access into a costume. 32. You hit record on a phone call because you want proof of what was said. In some states, one person knowing is enough. In others, everyone has to consent. So, the same button press can be normal or criminal, depending on where you are. You're thinking receipt. The law is thinking wiretap. A state line can change the rules mid-conversation. Now we're back at home, where everything should be simple. And somehow, the rules get even pettier. 33. You toss leftover firewood in your trunk after camping because it feels practical. Some states restrict transporting firewood to slow invasive insects and tree disease. So your free fuel can turn into a stop-and-find situation. You're not smuggling anything on purpose. You're just trying not to waste money. Sometimes the illegal part is the log. 34. You meet someone with a monkey or a big snake, and think it's just a personality choice. In a lot of places, owning certain exotic animals requires permits, inspections, or is banned outright, because one escape turns into a public safety call. Now, cool pet becomes paperwork nightmare. Some pets come with a legal department. 35. A kid sets up a lemonade stand and everyone smiles. Then a city rule shows up about permits, food handling, or business licenses. It's not that the lemonade is dangerous. It's that selling triggers regulation. And suddenly childhood looks like a compliance seminar. Even lemonade can get regulated. 36. You park in the curb cut in front of your own driveway because it's your driveway. In many cities, blocking a driveway is a ticket even if it's yours. The rule is blunt because enforcement can't read your mortgage statement. You come outside to a citation and feel personally attacked by pavement. Ownership doesn't always beat the curb. If you've ever muttered, "but it's my house," you get it. 37. You leave the engine running while you run inside for 1 second. Some cities have anti-idling rules with real fines. You're thinking comfort. The rule is thinking emissions and safety. And the ticket doesn't care how quick you were. Sometimes the meter is your exhaust. 38. You're in the school pickup line, stressed out, inching forward like it's a survival game. School zones come with strict rules about speed, phones, and stopping. One sloppy habit can turn into a ticket right in front of other parents. It's expensive, and it's humiliating. The pickup line is not a free-for-all. 39. You step onto private property for a shortcut, a photo, or because your map app told you to. In many states, posted signs can be enough to turn a small mistake into a real charge. You're thinking 2 seconds. The owner is thinking security. And the law often sides with the sign. A shortcut can get serious fast. 40. You show up at the beach with a speaker, a tent, maybe a little cooking setup, ready to claim your spot. Some beaches ban amplified sound, tents, smoking, or certain gear depending on the county. So your perfect day becomes a checklist of, nope. It's not personal. It's just rules layered on sand. At the beach, fun comes with fine print. These next rules feel fake because they're written like threats. But the fine print matters more than the font. 41. You buy a mattress and it comes with that dramatic label. Do not remove under penalty of law. So, of course, you treat it like a cursed object. Here's the twist. That warning is mainly aimed at manufacturers and sellers, not the person who sleeps on it. It exists because people used to stuff mattresses with mystery materials. So the tag is basically a truth label just written like a threat. That scary tag is mostly not about you. 42. You drag an old refrigerator to the curb and feel proud of yourself. In a lot of places, you're required to remove the door or disable the latch first, because kids have died getting trapped inside abandoned appliances. So what looks like a lazy cleanup rule is actually a safety law with teeth. Now your out-of-sight moment can become a citation. That fridge door is a bigger deal than you think. 43. You slap a NASA logo on a shirt because space looks cool. But NASA's insignia and seal have rules about how they can be used. So your retro astronaut vibe can turn into a very unfun email. It's not about ruining creativity. It's about protecting official identity. And yes, it's weird that a logo has a rulebook. Even space has branding police. 44. You print the U.S. Great Seal on an invitation because it looks official and classy. Federal law restricts using certain official seals in ways that suggest government approval. So your design choice can suddenly look like impersonation. You think you're being patriotic. The law thinks you're being misleading. Some symbols are not for your aesthetic. Okay, deep breath. The last few stop being quirky. 45. You sell homemade soap or snacks online and label it organic because it sounds wholesome. USDA organic is a regulated claim, not a personality trait. If you use that label without meeting the standard, you can face real penalties. So your cute packaging becomes a compliance problem overnight. Organic is a promise with paperwork behind it. 46. You make a fake emergency report because you want someone to get scared. That is not trolling. That can trigger armed responses. Federal law can treat certain hoaxes as serious crimes with heavy consequences. And if someone gets hurt, it gets ugly fast. Your joke becomes a headline. A prank call can turn into prison math. 47. You're talking to an investigator and you think, I'll just say something safer. Here's the trap. A false statement itself can be a crime, even without an oath. So the conversation turns into a legal minefield in real time. You're trying to end it quickly. You're actually making it worse. With federal questions, guessing is dangerous. 48. You buy a fake-looking badge as a gag, or you print an ID that looks government-ish. Federal law restricts certain official badges and close imitations, because the whole point of a badge is trust. If anyone can copy it, authority becomes a costume. And I thought it was funny doesn't land well. Don't cosplay a badge in real life. 49. You aim a cheap laser into the sky like it's harmless. Aiming a laser at an aircraft is a federal crime. Pilots don't know if it's a prank, a threat, or an accident. So, 1 second of stupidity can turn into a serious investigation. That tiny beam can cause real danger. Your laser is not a toy in the sky. 50. You're on a plane, you're irritated, and you decide to make a point. You argue, you refuse instructions, you escalate. Federal law treats interference with flight crew as a serious offense. This is where diversions, handcuffs, and lifelong consequences enter the story. On an airplane, compliance isn't weakness. It's how everyone gets home. On a plane, don't become the story. That's the list. 50 ridiculous rules that are real enough to ruin your day. Which one felt the most unbelievable? And which one felt a little too real? If you've actually been tripped up by one of these, tell us what happened. This is for information and entertainment, not legal advice. Rules and policies vary by place and organization.